These are the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
And it's always nice to welcome my next guest in the studio. And it's Tim Keightley. And Tim is Centre Manager at Preston's Foxton Centre. And I was just saying to Tim off air, it must have been a very, very busy few weeks, what with the opening of the new centre, the award of the most inspiring business of the year, and lottery grants, and of course lots of good staff giving lots of support down there. In fact, I don't know where to start with this, Tim. What about me? Should we start then with the opening? Because I came along to the opening and it was a brilliant afternoon. What was nice was to see everybody networking, but I must admit, from my point of view, the greatest pleasure of the visit was listening to your individual members of staff talking about the remit at the Foxton Centre, and I just enjoyed that so much. And I must admit, even though you and I have met a few times and we've talked about the Foxton Centre, to actually hear the staff talk with the enthusiasm that they had was just quite something.
Yeah, it's really hard to capture on paper or even talking about the work, the essence of it, the nature of it, really. And while our chair said, "Well, you don't do your talk this time, Keightley. Let the staff talk for themselves," which I didn't think was a very good idea at all, really. But actually, it turned out that lots of people have said what you've just said. Really, what a great insight it was. That they got into the work, and if anyone wanted to know why we've won most inspiring business of the year, just listen to the staff. They were just fantastic what they do, and like you say, the enthusiasm and energy they bring to that as well. And the centre, of course, is now open for business. I mean, that must have been a really nice day for yourself. I mean, it was nice to hear you talk about the fact that you kept the centre going with all the workmen there and getting in their way and whatever. So it must have been a really nice day to know that hopefully things are back to normal. Well, it was a good day to kind of say thank you to lots of organisations that had worked with us, and we're looking to work with them in the future. It was also a way of kind of saying, right, the fire's finished now, the building's up and running, and we're back open, and let's look forward now. Got winter coming up, going to be pretty busy, lots to do. So it was kind of a way of drawing the line under the past and putting our best foot forward for the future. And I've just talked about the staff and about the fact they talk about their role at the centre, and the centre has reopened. But for listeners who maybe are not aware of the Foxton Centre, would you tell us some of the work that goes on there? I know there is so much, but give our listeners a flavour for those who don't know of the Foxton Centre, if you would, Tim. Okay, well, today, as we speak, as often when I come here, it's what we call the community cafe in our main hall. So there's a team that comes in, staff, and a good set of volunteers come in, and they prepare food, and the people who come into the cafe can be homeless, can be sleeping rough, or they can have accommodation, but it's not very good accommodation, or they're sharing accommodation with somebody. They haven't got a place of their own that's kind of permanent, or there's people who maybe have a decent place to live, but come to us for kind of daytime support, meaningful activity, place to come, somewhere safe, somewhere warm, and that gives a structure to their day, and we think it helps them to prevent them becoming homeless again. Really, that's one of the pieces of work that kind of achieves. So that's our daytime in a nutshell today. This morning we had a team come in and they went off down to the allotment, so I guess we're getting towards the end of the growing season now, but we have an allotment that we run down in Frenchwood every year, and that kind of food growing in itself is a great project for some people who really enjoy doing that, and then they've got something to show for it, and then we can use some of the food in the cafe. Tonight it'll be our youth club, and we run children's or youth activities on 4 evenings a week, and a programme of in-house activity but occasional trips away, and the odd weekend residential for children from 7 to up to 18. We have obviously different age groups within that bracket, and then we have a street outreach, so we have an outreach team go out in the daytime just to contact people who are maybe Russ Sleeping, but haven't come into the centre for whatever reason. And then we have another base in another part of Preston, and we have 2 projects based there. One is working with women who are involved in street sex work, and another project is for young people who are at risk of sexual exploitation. So in a breathless nutshell is kind of captures a lot of the work that we do.
And just listening to you talk about all the things that come under the umbrella of the Foxton Centre, it's then not often, or I can't recollect really hearing about an organisation to yourselves, similar organisation to yourselves, winning an award, Inspiring Business of the Year.
No, I don't know of other charities that have won it. I suspect that other charities might go in for it now.
Yes.
And so I don't know desperately the history. All I know that the BIBAs, as they're called, Be Inspired Business Awards, which are run by the North and Western Lancashire Chamber of Commerce, their own tagline is the one that they all want to win. And when we went along to Blackpool Tower. It was in the Circus Theatre, the award ceremony. There was over 1,000 people there from loads of different businesses right across Lancashire. I've never seen so many bow ties in my life. I was wearing one.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And lots of women, all very glamorous.
Yes.
And there were 17, 18, 19 awards, and it was Small Business of the Year, Inspiring Business Woman of the Year, Best Service of the Year, that kind of thing. And we'd gone in, and we were in the most inspirational organisation of the year, and it was the first award to be announced, and lo and behold, we won. So obviously that's fantastic recognition.
Yes.
For the work that we do, and I had to do one of these acceptance speeches, but I wanted to make the point that the other inspirational part of the Foxton is the people that we work with who have really big issues and problems to overcome, and if they make a go at it, go of it, success, any kind of successful living, what you might call successful living, that's quite inspirational, because they've had to work really hard to make a go of things, and that can be quite an example to others, really.
So a lovely accolade then. And on the horizon, is it at the moment, is the lottery grant, is that a lottery grant that you've applied for actually being given?
Yes, well, so the BIB was on the Friday, and then I came in on the Monday, and of course we were on cloud 9 from that anyway, and then we got the call from the lottery to say that our bid had been successful. We just had to keep it to ourselves for a while until they kind of do a press release across the country for different projects that have got the money. And so that's again a culmination of lots of hard work, because we started the process of reapplying for the money a year ago, and it's taken, with various hoops to go through and different stages and setbacks and things, it's taken until now to get the money. But what it means is the daytime service that I just described to you, what we call the community cafe, it's a new lease of life now. The new project is called Pathways to Health and Wellbeing, but what it means is that's there now for 3 years, so we don't have to be worrying too much about whether we're going to be able to provide a service to homeless people, because that core piece of work is going to be there.
So it really is really good recognition, isn't it, for all the work going on here in Preston? It really is nice. It comes your way.
I think so, and while we there's a responsibility with getting a large sum of money, and that's to spend it wisely and be as as effective as possible. And that's one of the things the lottery have developed quite strongly in recent years. They want to say, well, it's all very good asking for the money. What are you going to achieve with that money, and how are you going to prove that you've achieved it? So you have to do that well. And we would never claim to be the sole organisation that works with rough sleeping and homeless people. There's loads of other organisations. We have to work very closely with them, because the best answer for someone can involve working with other organisations. Like I've said before, we're not a drug service specialist by any means, but we might get people ready and confident enough to go and refer themselves to a drug service. So we're a key part, but if the drug service wasn't there, then the journey wouldn't be complete for people. So So while it is a great recognition of us, there's lots of good work going on in Preston of a similar kind.
And as we head, this sounds terrible to say that, I think it's the first time I've said it this year, as we head towards the end of the year, what does 2015 bring in the way of challenges or new initiatives that maybe you would like to see?
Well, the first thing we'll start in the next month or so will be to restart what we call our Hungry campaign, and that is encouraging people to give £1, and knowing that £1 will buy a meal in our community cafe for a homeless person. So we have Hungry campaign collecting boxes in the Ravenous Cafe and in Cafe Fresh, and there's a couple of other companies like Howden Market, they already do collecting for us, but we're looking to have new partners on board with that, and that's kind of going to tap into people's awareness with the weather changing, as I assume it will do, and becoming a bit more aware of homelessness, particularly in the winter months and Christmas. So that's the first thing. But then, as you say, ask me about next year. So there's one of our projects, the project with young people involved in at risk of sexual exploitation. That's only got funding till April next year, and we'll need some money for my post as well. So there's 2 more funding challenges already on the horizon.
So even though we've talked about the lottery grant, I mean, donations are always needed, aren't they, and welcomed?
Yep, no, absolutely. And we have been very fortunate with an increase in donations in the last year. I think that's because people know about us a lot more, and they can easily go onto the website or Facebook and click and do the online giving, and there's lots of people out doing fundraising for us. But yes, it's a never-ending need to raise money. Why is that? Well, partly because we employ staff, and they're experts in their work, and to get the best staff, you have to pay a decent salary. Most of them could probably, don't tell them this, probably get better paid jobs elsewhere, but they really believe in the work. So when someone says, £299,000 over 3 years from the lottery, that's a lot of money, isn't it? Well, it is, but if you think that you pay 3 or 4 staff out of that, then there's not a lot left after that.
And as I was saying on the open day, what was nice is all the people that were there from all agencies, from the local police, the community police. Everybody came together as a community, and that was lovely to see. And I'm sure that must have been nice also for the staff at the Foxton Centre to see that level of support. Yes,
I mean, you use that word community, and we use that a lot ourselves, because while obviously there are people doing a job, and people come to receive a service, we are quite keen. It's a thing called social pedagogy, Huey, and it's where you are professional, but you're also personal. You don't have to share private stuff, but you might talk about the fact that, for me, Luton Town is the best football club the world has ever seen, and someone might disagree with that, which I can't understand that. But you talk a bit about your personal likes and strengths and weaknesses or whatever with somebody, and that breaks down that idea that you're the professional, you're the expert, and actually brings together 2 human beings who both got things to offer. And out of that kind of working relationship, if you like, then the person who's come for a service may feel more affirmed and more able to think, well, actually maybe I could do this. So on Friday, for example, we're taking a group hill walking in the lakes, and one of the first ones we did about that 3 or 4 years ago, someone still today says that was the turning point for them. They realised what they could do, and they remembered how fit they were, and thought, right, you know what, I'm gonna get back to being like that. So I think that's a case in point where it's beyond just the professional, and that community idea is a very strong one, I think. Well, Tim, as always, a pleasure to meet you. Let's see how we can get some money out of our listeners, and just remind us again about how they can help provide meals, and also where they can go to make donations. Well, that's the website, the www.thefoxtoncentre.co.uk. That will take you to the website, and there's a link to Facebook, and either places I think you can click on online giving, charity checkout, and donate that way, and that can be a small donation or it can be a monthly donation. Obviously, you can send in checks and so on. People have collected food, tins of food, packs of dry food like rice and pasta. We're always willing to take those, particularly as the winter months. Either we use it in our cafe, or people do come to us, they can't make ends meet and they want a food parcel. So if we've got the food, then we can give it out. So those are great ways of helping. If anyone wants to do a sponsored event, then they're very welcome to. Just let us know and we'll try and support you with Facebook notification about it. And if you look on the Facebook, there's 2 or 3 people who've just done stuff recently, and that's an example of what you might want to do. So those are the ways, and any contribution like that is fantastic.
Well, I shall look forward to our next encounter, and I know that we at Preston FM will remain part of the community with yourselves at the Foxton Centre. So
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Huey and our Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.